All right, guys, welcome back to the Part-Time Hunter Podcast. I'm going to be your host, Daniel Gross. Super glad to have you guys on episode 3, just a pure hunting podcast with no sponsors, no commercials, no breaks, and let's dive into it. If you guys are first-time listeners, super glad to have you. I hope you check out our IG page, MojoBuck80, or the YouTube channel where you can find this podcast. We're simultaneously filming video and a live podcast. It was super confusing for a first-time guy like me, but we got it rolling. We are hot. Mics are checked, cameras rolling, and we are good to go. So let's get this thing going. Today's episode, we're following suit with turkey season hot on our heels here in North Georgia, and we are chomping at the bit to get going. And today at work, I was thinking about what episode 3 could be about. And a lot of you guys, maybe you live in the South, your whole life have been here local, or maybe you're from the Midwest, or maybe you're from the Western states, or maybe you're down in South Florida and you love chasing the wild turkey. There is no better time than the spring turkey season to go ahead and plan a turkey tour, an out-of-state trip. A lot of guys call it going out on a swing. I'm going to hit several states, then make my way back home. And when I say swing, guys, I'm not talking about those upside-down pineapple freaks. I'm talking about a swing to kill that big old longbeard. Big old turkey coming down the pipe. So you guys stay tuned. Got a great show coming for you. Let's get right into it. So turkey tour prep or planning a DIY hunting trip out of state, it can be kind of intimidating from the jump, especially if you're going to a place completely blind. There are a couple ways to go about planning your out-of-state trip, and this process that I'm going to go over in my list that I made is applicable to whitetail, elk, mule deer, anything that you're chasing inside the continental U.S., including Hawaii. Definitely something that you can take to the bank and apply in those species as well. So wild turkey in particular is definitely something that you have seen grow on YouTube, social medias, Facebook groups. A lot of guys are taking out-of-state trips with the popularity of the single-season slam, the Royal Slam, just trying to get those certain species. There's even guys out there that chase I think it's 49 or 47. I want to say it's 49, but the quest to get turkeys in all 49 states, and that includes Hawaii, crazy places like Arizona, California, up in New York. That's just crazy places that I can't really imagine wild turkeys being, but there definitely are some great populations, different terrain, different subspecies. I mean, you're talking about, South Florida's kind of got the monopoly on the Osceola turkey, so public land's really good. It can get done if you go the private land route where you're paying a gatekeeper to get on their private land, or you're paying an outfitter that got a lease, whatever the case may be. I mean, you're looking at, $3,500 on the cheap end to go on the Osceola route. So they kind of got you there. South Florida, there's a line in the state where you've got Easterns, you got hybrids, and then you definitely got Osceola country. That's on a bucket list for me. I definitely want to head down there at some point. That's a full-blown commitment, and that's kind of what we're talking about, especially if you're driving across country. We're talking 15-plus hours. You want to definitely do your homework before you head and you get in the truck and chase after those longbeards out of state. So what I was thinking about is my experiences, the turkey trips that I have been on recently, and just to give you guys some input from somebody that's just your average working guy that has planned, e-scouted, packed supplies, all that good stuff, the stuff that you need to be successful and do your homework to make sure that you're headed out to a place that's got good population numbers, or maybe you've got a friend out of state that's going to swap you hunts, or maybe you're going the outfitter route. There's definitely ways to make sure when you do leave your driveway that you wow, if I could talk tonight, that you set yourself up for success. And like we mentioned, I've got a short list here for you. If you stay tuned towards the end of the show, I'm going to try to make this episode a decent length episode. I like making podcasts, short, sweet, to the point. If you stay tuned towards the end of the show, I'm going to actually be going through my personal turkey vest, going through what they call a vest dump. So showing exactly what's in there. I haven't touched it since last season, and that's definitely part of the list gear checklist to get through before you head out of state is definitely check that turkey vest and see exactly what you're working with. But I'm going to dump mine out for you right here on the table. You guys at home on YouTube are going to get to see it as well, so stay tuned for that. But let's dive into the meat and taters of this podcast episode, which is gearing up for your turkey tour. Now, you guys have probably heard turkey tour or that terminology in the last couple of years thanks to the guys at the Hunt Public, which those guys wrote the book on how to go out of state and hunt public land. That's pretty much all they do. So a lot of guys, try to copy that or like see how they're successful. And there is a formula to this, guys. There is a way to be successful out of state. I would say my number one thing on the checklist for your turkey tour is planning. Planning is crucial. So this usually starts depending on what state, depending on if you're going to, certain states for non-resident is a draw state. Like this year, I believe Nebraska, we're talking 2023 and up, Nebraska did become a draw state for non-resident. I think the biologists there, the DNR, recognize the turkey population in Nebraska is crawling with turkeys. If you didn't know that, I'm not telling you anything new on the podcast here, but Nebraska's got a ton of good, healthy turkey populations, and I think they were trying to get ahead of the power curve and make that license draw only for non-resident, which I get that, but you just got to get your application in early, get your points, and make sure that you're on plane with getting yourself a Merriam turkey out there in Nebraska. That's what they're known for. Merriam, blonde. We call them bright boys. My buddies out in Nebraska spur chasers. Shout out Dalton and Preston. But so planning, I'm getting ahead of myself. E-scouting and planning is probably the two best things you could possibly do. And what I mean by planning is know ahead of time your regulations. So if I keep using Nebraska, let's use something else. Let's say I'm going to Kansas, exactly what me and Ben from Bear Level did last year. We literally hopped in a rental, met him in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we hauled ass straight west to Nebraska, not knowing a damn thing, and just had a square blocked off of that state, and we had some pins dropped on Onyx based off of turkey habitat and places that they like to be that we know of here in the South. So we did have places to go, but yet we haven't been boots on the ground, and that's something that you've got to do ahead of time. So, like I said, episode 1, no sponsors, nobody's paying me to say this. I bought all this stuff you're watching on YouTube with my own money, microphone. This is just a one-man show here. So when I tell you that I invested in Onyx maps, that has been a freaking game changer. Now, I don't care what you use. I don't care what mapping app you use. Definitely invest, do some research, and find a mapping app that you can have on your phone where you can drop pins. Definitely, look at terrain, topos, private, public land. That is a huge thing. If you're out of state and you don't know a freaking soul for 100 miles, all you've got is your phone, and I use Onyx. There's several other apps that I'm sure do the same freaking thing, but make sure you have something, especially if you're going solo. And that's another thing. If you're going to do the planning phase of a turkey tour, make sure you have, like I said, something to do some e-scouting, something to do some pre-planning with. I really enjoy the solo aspect of turkey hunting, but I definitely really enjoyed having Ben with me too, especially if you're getting your ass kicked in out of state by some different birds, some different terrain. At least you got somebody to bounce some ideas off of, bounce some frustration off of, that can really turn a trip around, and maybe he's got an idea or a strategy that you're not thinking about because you're all pissed off and you're spun out. You let that turkey get the best of you, and going out of state with a buddy is probably my best recommendation, especially stuff you don't think about, like long drives out of state. Dude, having a road buddy with you is huge. I mean, that means you don't have to pull over, you don't have to fall asleep, on the side of the road. You can keep driving, you can change out. So I highly suggest, at the bare minimum, unless you're like Dave Owens or somebody, Shane Simpson, I totally get that. If you're doing that by yourself, go for it. But if you can also split a rental, split gas, split food, split hotel, if you're a wuss and don't want to camp out like real turkey hunter, I'm totally joking. If me and Ben weren't on a budget last year, we would have definitely bought a hotel room. We actually broke down somewhere in Kansas, meaning we got somewhere to eat, and there was a hotel in the same parking lot, and we contemplated for a minute eating that Mexican food in Kansas, boys, are great. We were staring at that hotel parking lot. I'm like, dude, a shower would be freaking nice right now. And he's like, dude, I'm totally down. I will go buy a hotel room right now. And I talked him out of it. So we, hardcore as we were, we went back to the public land, pitched a tent, slept in the dirt like a turkey hunter should. No, I'm completely joking. There is nothing in the rule books that say you have to sleep in a tent on public land. So enjoy yourself. Hunting is fun. It's a pastime. We spend a lot of money and time doing it. It's something to be enjoyed. So get a hotel room if you want to. That definitely falls into the category of planning. So know the area. Don't be one of those guys that goes on the Facebook groups or the forums or send somebody a DM that lives in Kansas. Hey, man, I'm coming from Florida or I'm coming from Tennessee and I'm going out to Kansas and, man, I'd really like to get my hands on a Rio. You got any place you can, point me in the right direction or drop me a pin? Dude, don't be that freaking guy. Do your own homework. Find your own damn birds, and it's going to mean that much more to you. Now, I completely understand if you're going out of state with an outfitter. They're pretty much doing all the homework. They're the gatekeeper to the land. They're going to have all the scouting. They're probably going to have one pinned for you in the morning. A lot of guys do that. And I'm not going to knock somebody for spending their hard-earned money on a bird and having success out of state because Lord knows I was almost to that point last year with Ben. I really wanted to get on a bird, but you know what? It just wasn't in the cards for us, and we stuck it out on public land, and we actually learned a lot. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So planning, you do a lot of e-scouting, find some terrain. If you're out of state, turkeys need a lot of stuff, but their main things is cover, roost area. They need, plenty of open space, especially if you're out west, creek bottoms, those draws in between those canyons, some super tall, I believe it's cottonwood trees is most of what we saw in Nebraska, but, roost area, a place for food and water and cover, places to get out of the wind, a lot of, forested blocks, is where you're going to find most of that turkey sign out of state. So, there's definitely things that you can apply from your home state and how you hunt turkeys. It applies to a lot of other states as well. So be smart, use common sense, get your plan down, get an e-scouting tool of some kind. I use OnX, but you can use whatever you want to and go from there. So in your planning, we already mentioned license, so make sure you get the right license. Make sure you do your homework on regulations. If there's an extra conservation stamp or an out-of-state some other way that the DNR is getting some funds in for the state hunting, whatever they got, make sure you are aware and know your limit, know your shot size limitation. So some states, like we mentioned in episode 2 on turkey gun setups, go check out that episode if you haven't listened to it already. But some states let you shoot TSS. Some states really regulate that. They dictate what size shot you're allowed to use. So make sure you know that. Don't get a dumb ticket. Don't be a dumbass in somebody else's public land. Make sure you know the rules and be a good steward of other don't go to a campsite and dump a bunch of shit all over the place and leave it a wreck. Leave something better than what you found it. If you show up to a campsite and there's trash everywhere, bring an extra trash bag in your truck. You can always use an extra trash bag, but if you see trash everywhere, pick it up, be a good steward, leave it better than you found it. And we'll always have these lands and conservation and turkey populations for other generations, because it's not just you out there hunting turkeys. It's your kids, it's your grandkids, it's your brother, it's your uncle, it's everybody who loves this wild turkey. Make sure you leave it a better place for others. So, getting off a rant there. Let's see, where and when. Yeah, that's crucial. So on my list here for number 1 under planning is where and when. So you want to make sure you do your homework on your out of state that you're choosing. So you zero in on your state, you zero in on maybe what area opens sooner, later. Turkey season has been cut down in most places. We used to be able to get after them in March, like Mississippi and Alabama. Our limits here in Georgia used to be a little bit more liberal. You used to could take more than one bird per day. That's all changed, so make sure you know that, and make sure you know what time of year you're going. So if you're going super early season, out west especially, pack some freaking cold gear, dude. Pack the right boots, pack the right calls, if you use decoys or not. Listen, we're going to dive into the decoy purists and stuff later on, but if you use decoys or not, make sure you got the right species. Make sure you know what time of year you're going. So make sure you do some research on early season birds. Maybe they're henned up more. Mid-season, late season, most hens are on nest, that end of April, early May type deal in some states. Some states, it's almost winter in some where it's truly spring weather in others. So there's a lot of advice. I don't think it's a bad thing if you reach out to somebody in, say it's Kansas, say, hey man, I'm thinking about turkey hunting out there, this week of whatever month. Usually what kind of weather you guys seen out there? I don't know another turkey hunter anywhere that would blow you off for asking, maybe how should I prepare to go hunt this area of the state versus asking for a pin or an area to start at. Ask the guy, hey man, maybe we can swap hunts one day. I just need to ask you some questions. If I'm going out mid-April in this part of Kansas, dude, is it usually freezing cold? Do I need to bring some weather gear? Or, maybe it's super hot this time of year. Maybe I'm going late season, What do you guys dress like? How do you guys prepare for a hunt out there? I don't think anybody would give you the cold shoulder on something like that. So don't be afraid to ask stuff like that. That's something that I don't know of anybody that wouldn't pass that information along to you. Going over supplies. So when you're planning, definitely if you've got, plans to sleep in a hotel like we mentioned, or if you're going to camp on a campsite, or if you're going to sleep in your truck, make sure you pack your truck with the right type of supply. So if you're a coffee guy, get you some way to get some coffee, pack your own food and snacks, make sure you got plenty of water. You're really not going out of state to turkey hunt and concentrating on, where the nearest Ruth Chris Steakhouse is, guys. Save some money, pack your own food, pack your own snacks, make sure your vest is full of jerky, Cliff Bar, water bottle, hydration carrier, whatever you're doing. Make sure you've got that stuff because there's nothing more it's a pain in the ass when you're out of state, you're running around, you're stressed out, you've got a few days to get this done, and you don't have the stuff you need, and you got to go into town for food. Dude, be a true savage out in the turkey woods and pack your own gear and pack your own food, man. I promise you it'll save you money. And with the rising cost of fuel, the planning stages of this trip is going to help you a lot. So plan your fuel stops, know exactly what you're driving. I'm a big advocate of a rental car. I know that's changed in the last couple of years with how much all this shit costs us hunters now, especially license going up and tags and conservation stamps, and fuel is definitely probably the biggest cost I look at on an out-of-state trip, and wear and tear on my own truck. So me personally, I lease my vehicles. That's probably changing here in about a month for me, but usually if I've got a lease, I've got a mileage parameter I'm looking at, so it always paid me dividends to use a rental car. I'll caution you, make sure you get a rental car that has good ground clearance, because on some of these public accesses, man, it could get super freaking hairy, and I don't even know if I should tell you this. I got a Sienna stuck in a peanut field in West Texas, and we had to pull it out with a set of ratchet straps by the coil springs on the rear suspension, because a Toyota Sienna doesn't have any damn tow points. And we found that out very quickly. So if you guys, make sure you think about that kind of stuff. If you're using a rental car, make sure you can, be dragged out of a mud hole or a ditch or whatever you find yourself in. Just be prepared and know exactly what you're looking at so you're not caught off guard. That goes directly in this planning stage right here. Let's see. We've covered vehicle, food, supplies, license, clothes. Probably the last thing in the planning stage is, especially if you're a guy like me or anybody that's, likes to film content, turkey hunting is a great time to get content. Make sure you've got a power source. Don't rely on your vehicle all the time to charge your phone or to edit a video or charge your camera. Invest in a power bank. Those things are freaking lifesavers. I've got a power bank I can hook up to this Canon camera I'm filming this YouTube video with here while we're doing the podcast. I can run that thing for 4 freaking days straight. From sun up to sundown, I can run that whole camera, recording-wise. And that's just something that you got to have. So have at least a power bank. I've actually got one here for you guys watching live on video. This is my wife's power bank I was charging my phone with before the podcast. So get a power bank that's got the cords built in. That's huge. You can actually take this in your turkey vest, and if you're out there, and you're on your phone a lot out of state, looking at your maps or whatever, plug your phone up, throw it in the vest. By the time you need it again, boom, you've got a couple more bars on your phone. So pack a power bank. Don't be the guy that gets stuck out and gets lost because his phone died. That's super embarrassing. You don't want to be that guy. Solo hunt or with a friend. Yeah, that was my number 2. I kind of lumped that into number 1. We've kind of gone over the pros and cons. I really don't think there's a con in traveling out of state. I think the only con would be make sure you pick a guy that you're comfortable being with for all hours of the day, and that actually has some experience and the right mindset, and you guys know exactly what you're doing, and you can bounce stuff off each other like we mentioned. That's a huge thing. I probably wouldn't take a turkey tour by myself unless I maybe knew somebody on the other end of the road that was going to help me. Like in this case, I'm planning to go to Kansas myself again, kind of a revenge tour. I'm not going to lie to you. We got our ass beat pretty good, me and Ben, on our journey for some Rios. But I'm headed out there with Seth Fritz. You guys probably go give him a follow. I believe his IG handle is SethFritz_land or something like that. He's paired up with good Lord, what is that outfitter out there? He's paired up with an outfitter out there in Kansas that he works for. I'm pretty sure he's a guide out there, but we're just going to be on public land, me and him. But the advantage of having a friendship like that and meeting somebody on Instagram and swapping a hunt out is that he's got some local knowledge. So we're not going to be going on public land just completely blind. I'm going to be traveling up for their opener. Hey, so if you're on the road, shout us out, man. Say hey to us. But we're going to be headed out there Thursday. I leave here from Georgia on Thursday, and he's going to be trying to roost a bird. So I've got a guy on the other end of the road trip that's already being proactive and trying to find us a bird for the next morning. So it should be a fun trip. I'm looking to get the Rio knocked off the list, and if stuff gets wild and gets western, we're probably going to head out to Wyoming. I'm probably going to go solo up there. And I've got a few pins dropped on some areas. So I'm going to try some Wyoming stuff and see if we can get a pure white blonde boy up there. So we'll see, guys. Wish us luck, and plans always change and stuff happens, but that's kind of what's in the books for right now. So we're geared up for that. Number 3, definitely going over your gear list. So if I'm planning a turkey tour, I'm going to go from A to freaking Z and make sure all my stuff for the turkey woods is A1 steak sauce. You're going to hear me say that a lot here. What I mean by that is if I'm a friction call guy, I'm going to make sure I've got Scotch-Brite, I've got stuff to roughen up my calls, keeping my strikers fresh. So I've got this brand new call here from Foot on the Head. It's one of my, I love this. I love having a crystal call, especially out west. These crystal calls really sing and spread out over that vast terrain out there. I'm not going to get caught up in a lot of the timber woods out here in North Georgia, but you've got this. Let's see if you guys can hear this. You're going to have all that to play with. So I'm going to make sure my strikers are good to go. I'm going to make sure they're conditioned. I'm going to make sure I've got plenty of supplies to keep that waterproof, because crystals, if they get wet, or certain slates or aluminum pot calls, I'm talking about friction calls here, guys, make sure you've got a way to keep those dry. So going over all that, if I'm a mouth call guy, I'm going to make sure I've got a way to keep those mouth calls fresh. So what I mean by that is, having a case or see a lot of those guys that carry that pouch around their neck where they can drop them in real quick or spit them in there. I'm using some of the Yelp Saver, some of the product that me and Justin Cowart from Arkansas designed. I love keeping those in between my reeds instead of some freaking whatever guys are using, guitar picks, toothpicks, whatever. I hate that because I've poked some holes in my reeds before. I use some of these Yelp Savers that we 3D print and we sell. So like I said, we're not sponsored. That's something that I invested in. That's a product that I'm pushing right now. So, like I said, buy them or not, it's not going to fund this podcast. It's not a sponsor, guys. It's just something that I'm throwing out there. So, if you're interested, I've got a couple sets left. They're not expensive. If you like using toothpicks, keep using toothpicks. You're not going to hurt my feelings. But if I'm a diaphragm guy, I'm going to have something to keep those calls fresh and clean, keep them out of the dirt, keep debris out. I'm going to keep extra bottles of water to rinse them out. I might keep a bottle of mouthwash. You should be brushing your teeth out there anyway, you nasty animals. And other than that, like I said, just have a way to keep your calls fresh, because you don't want to be out of state in front of a bird and have a call go down. That's the worst case scenario. Unless you're like Bo Brooks and can call with your mouth, I don't know what you're going to do. You're just freaking screwed out there. Box call, I'm going to have plenty of chalk if I'm a box call guy. Box calls are great, again, out west where you're wanting that sound to really carry over that high wind or that vast open country. A lot of people use box calls here in the South. That just, personal preference. I'm a diaphragm guy, true and true. I would rather use a diaphragm the whole time. And I still wear a turkey vest. That's number 2 on the gear list, is guys here in the South, and really everybody now with, especially right now with huge, just shout out to Mossyoak, man. They didn't pay me a dime to say this, but that Mr. Fox vest, Mr. Fox of Mossyoak, I mean, he is the ultimate G, man. I mean, all the patterns that we love today, he's the godfather of that. And shout out to those guys on the marketing and that Mr. Fox vest. Holy crap. You want to copy some marketing ideas, dude. Pay attention to what mossyoak's doing. They got the corner on the vest market. But what a cool product to see launch, and the people get behind that company. And, man, that Fox vest is sharp. But regardless, I'm running the Impact 1.0 from Grounded brand. I bought this vest with my own money. So, again, don't jump on me. No sponsors here. Bought this vest with my own money. I got it in New Bottomland. It's actually behind me for you guys here listening to this or watching this on YouTube. But I'm going to go through this vest dump in a minute. But make sure you've got a good, comfortable turkey vest, a good seat. And whether you just use one collar or not, it's so nice to have a vest, or if you use one of those North Mountain Gear pullovers with the kangaroo pocket, it's so nice to have a place to store your phone, batteries, water, snacks, holy crap, toilet paper, an extra trash bag for my camera. Here's a number one turkey tip for you guys. If you guys have a camera, whether it's waterproof or not, if I had a waterproof camera, which this Canon I'm shooting with is not, but even if I had one, I wouldn't want all my stuff to get soaking wet, especially my rabbit cover on my microphone and all that crap. So I keep an extra trash bag or two, not only to haul out a fan or something I'm preserving to bring back home, which that would be a cool episode. I don't know if you guys do your own fans or not, but I keep an extra trash bag, a super thick Rubbermaid trash bag to put over my camera in case it starts raining. I don't mind to stay out there if it's raining, but I'm not going to be filming if it's raining. So that's what my GoPro's for. I've got a GoPro mount on my off shoulder, which is something we'll go over in the turkey vest dump here in a minute. But I got a trash bag for my camera setup. Also, I keep another set of trash bags, so in case I'm using my hiking boots, if I know I'm going somewhere where I got a huge, break off a 4 or 5 mile hike at first thing in the morning, I got to cross a creek, there is nothing nicer than to have dry feet, guys. I promise you that. So if I've got to cross a creek that's I'm probably not going to cross one if it's waist high. I'm going to try to find some way around it. But if I can cross it and I don't have boots that go up to my knees like snake boots, I'm going to take those 2 trash bags and I'm going to just redneck engineer some freaking hip waders out of those things. I'm going to cross a creek. Then I'm going to shake them off, turn them inside out, throw them back in the back of your vest, because guess what? You got to cross that creek again. So that's just a pro tip there. Utilize trash bags. And again, there are multiple use there if you're going to haul a bird out, or if you're going to throw him in the back of your truck and keep his feathers all nice. Or you might get to a campsite and want to pick it up a little bit. That's a great tip there. But keep your 4, 5, 6 trash bags in your turkey vest or in your travel vehicle at all times. It'll pay dividends, I promise you. All right, guys, we are back, and I'm sorry. Right now I'm going to apologize to the guys on YouTube. My battery ran out in the middle of the turkey tour prep list. So if you guys are catching this on the back end, definitely check out the actual podcast. We're on Spotify and Apple iTunes, finally. Apple Podcasts. The Part-Time Hunter. Google it. You'll find it. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. It's got the OG Bottomland with our logo there. Easy to find. Leave us a review. And that's for you guys, too, on the podcast. If you're going to leave us a review, check us out. Shoot me a message on social media and let me know if you listen to the podcast. I really would love to hear from you guys, especially you guys that are catching this from the first, 1, 2. This is number 3 on the episode. Would love to hear from you guys and what you think of the show so far. So it's the whole reason we do this. And I got an announcement here for you. We have ordered some more equipment because I'm an idiot and didn't know that you can't record a podcast with a phone call. You need all this other mixer and cords and all this other horse shit, and it's funded all by me. So I would love a review. We're going to be taking some phone calls live on the podcast and doing some video podcasts and some guest interviews, and we're taking off, guys. Freaking Part-Time Hunter to the freaking moon, and I want you guys to be there along with us. So let's go ahead. I'm going to grab here for you guys on YouTube. You'll be able to see it. You guys on the podcast, check out the YouTube video, vice versa. Let's grab this turkey vest. Give me 1 second here. All right, guys, we're grabbing the turkey vest. Going from A to Z, so you guys on YouTube can see, this is obviously the Grounded brand Impact 1.0. There is a 2.0 now, made by my good buddy Drew Abel. He's out of Alabama. I paid for this turkey vest. You guys know that. But this is New Bottomland. He came out with Greenleaf this year. Drew, you bastard, I would have bought Greenleaf if you had it 2 years ago, but it is what it is, and I'm not buying another one. So Well, if I rip this one, I'll buy another one. This one's a New Bottomland. It's got a huge back pouch, which is something that I told you guys on the podcast. Have a back pouch, have a place to put stuff. That's imperative. I have a fly-down wing, so this is something everybody should have in your turkey vest is a fly-down wing. Not only is it a cool memory from a bird that you took, but you can do fly-down representations with this wing, which is huge. Sometimes gobblers up in a tree, you don't have to make a lot of noise to them if they're super aggressive. You can literally just flap this on the ground like a turkey fly down, and that may be enough for them. So having a turkey fly down wing, or some people use their hat, you could definitely use your hat. I just like using a turkey wing because obviously you're going to be killing turkeys. It takes 2 seconds to cure this out with some borax, 20 Mule Team borax. Boy, if I could talk tonight. I've got a decoy bag. A decoy bag serves a lot of purposes. Obviously, I can hide my decoy when I'm not using it. Most of the times I don't have a decoy. I like to run and gun, but I can use this decoy bag for storage or throwing stuff in my bag, keeping organized instead of having 10 different things flying around back here. Turkey hunters, you'll find out, are very superstitious. So I've had this knee pod. It's a Hunter Specialties from, gosh, man, I was in middle school when we bought this. It's just something to rest your gun on. If you're being super patient, like we mentioned, and you've got your shotgun resting on the top of your knee, the fore end or the barrel or your sling swivel can really dig into the top of your kneecap, and that really sucks because it makes you want to move around. This thing is just a little simple buckle, and it's just like a V-shaped pillow for you guys on podcast land. But this can sit on top of your knee, and it'll save you from having to move around and rest your shotgun there, and really just holds it for you. So if you don't want to have both hands on it real quick, throw this on there. But I've had this since, like I said, I was 10 or 12 years old. What a cool piece of turkey hunting history, and we got it in the vest today. So let's see what else. I've got another decoy bag. I'm going in the back hatch, guys, for all you guys on podcast land. Going in the back hatch. I've got a spare Avian X collapsible decoy stake, which is imperative if you're running decoys. That's kind of a given. So we're going to lay that down there without spilling our mic. This vest has a really nice cushion, and that's something that you look for in a turkey vest. A waterproof bottom, a thick memory foam type seat, thick enough to where if you're somewhere that has those Joshua trees from Satan and they try to stab you in the ass with the 12-inch long thorn that was on Jesus' crown, you definitely want to have a memory foam seat that'll at least protect you a little bit. So a waterproof bottom, something you can sit on, even if you don't have time to deploy it. It's nice to lean up against a tree and kind of protect your back there. This is where the hydration carrier goes. And to show you guys I practice what I preach, this is my trash bags. So I've got a couple of super high-quality Rubbermaid trash bags here, and you guys can hear them. There's your trash bags. I'm telling you, practice what you preach there. Trash bags for your camera, trash bags across a creek with your boots that don't go so high, or picking up a campground, or there's a million uses for these. Shove it over your head, make you a improvised poncho if you don't have the fancy camo rain suit. There's all kind of stuff you can use for those out of state. Also, let's see if I can find it here. Where was that? Oh, it's up here. I lied to you. It's in this pocket. Oh, look at that. I've got more trash bags. Perfect. And I've also got a Ziploc full of white gold, especially during COVID, guys. Boy, that toilet paper run, are you shitting me? Dude, you could sell this stuff for $500 a roll back then. But no, this stuff is awesome. It will save you your ass, literally, in the turkey woods. Some toilet paper, a nice heavy-duty Ziploc bag that, again, you can use for whatever you want to, keeping a camera dry or shoving a call in there if it's pouring rain. But its number one purpose is to keep this TP intact to take care of business there. So you guys, obviously, you know what I'm talking about. The front pocket. Like I said earlier, my off shoulder is this, Lord forgive me, I can't read Chinese, Ulanzi, this Chinesium magnet mount here. This is a quick attach, quick detach for my GoPro, so that thing is priceless. I can go from my shotgun, which is Steve. You guys have heard of Steve. Seen him on the YouTube channel. I can put this on Steve. I could shove this back on my shoulder, and I can be completely quiet. Wow. I can be completely quiet and not have to use those stupid screws from GoPro over and over and over and lose them in the turkey woods. So I can use a magnet mount. This is a shoulder strap off eBay that Velcros on my off-shoulder turkey vest shoulder strap. So I painted that just flat dark earth with some rattle can because I hate black. So we've got that. Put a little bit of mossyoak graphics tape on that handle. And again, guys, that thing's a lifesaver if you use a GoPro. So this turkey vest has an awesome memory foam back padding as well with a carry handle. That's super nice. Oh, here's something that I love to play with in the off season because my wife hates the hell out of this thing. But this is a Hooks custom call hooter. Again, I bought this and I love it because you can use this whenever you want to annoy your wife. You can locate turkeys. You can annoy your wife. That's a win. I'll buy 4 of these. But this is the hoot stick from Hooks Custom Calls. Let's see if I can blow this thing still. Got to give it some back pressure. Buddy, are you kidding me? That thing is so much fun. Everybody should have a hooter. If you don't turkey hunt, you should have a hooter just for your wife. But other than that, guys, we've got some friction calls. We've got some mass. We're going to go ahead and show you that new call from Foot on the Head, Logan Hardy. What a great freaking dude. I love a slate call. I love a pot call. Let's do this little bit of glass calling here for you guys. Hope you can hear this. Ooh, buddy, that's going to be so dangerous. I'm trying to get that purr down. Ooh, man, that's dirty. Well, guys, I think that's going to do it for episode 3. I'm looking at the clock here. I think we're running about 45 minutes or so. So we're getting there. We're going to get some guests rolling in here. This is not the last turkey episode. We're probably going to do some more turkey episodes or podcasts in general on the road as well. When I get that piece of equipment in, that mixer from Zoom in here, I can take some phone calls and hear from you guys. And like I said, guys, this podcast is all about just your everyday guy that works a 9 to 5. And if you're a turkey hunter this time of year, you're trying to look at your weekends and Easter and weddings and spring stuff and mulching the yard, and you're thinking about how can I spend more time in the turkey woods without getting in the doghouse. And that's something that we're probably going to have my wife on here at some point and go through the dynamic of, really get her take on what she thinks about hunting in general and time away from her and the family, and how hunters can get on the better side of their wife and maybe get some more free time. So that'd be a cool perspective. Get a wife's perspective and a hunter's perspective and combine them up in a mix-up podcast. So I don't know. That may be a recipe for disaster. But guys, as always, thanks for tuning in. If you guys are checking out, or if you're a part of our YouTube family, Mojo Buck Productions, this podcast is going to be on there. I believe I'm going to call it Turkey Tour and Vest Up Episode 3. And I hope you guys enjoy the episode. Again, leave us a like. Give us a review on Spotify or iTunes or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're finding this at. I'd love to hear from you guys. We're doing this for you. We're gearing up for turkey season. Oh, last announcement. I did talk to my buddy up in Kentucky, Jerry Etheridge of Etheridge Hydrographics. That Mossberg 510 Mini, the world's smallest turkey gun, is getting shipped back this week. And that's a pattern video and a setup turkey gun that is going to bring that episode 2 all to light in a video for you guys. So we've got 7 different TSS loads to put through this on paper, get this red dot sighted in, the whole process, assembly, this brand new shotgun dipped in mossyoak green leaf. You don't want to miss it. And man, that's it, guys. I'm going to go in the house, get some more brownie points hopefully built up for turkey season. And as always, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.